Hey guys, it's Cream.
Villains, villains, villains. Who doesn't love a good villain? Thankfully, the Raimi Spider-Man movies have produced some pretty awesome villains, and what's even better is the fact that there is plenty of merchandise made about them. But there are villains that, despite never appearing in the films, got their own pieces of Raimi Spider-Man merchandise. So today, that's what we're going to be going over. Villains who made it into the action figure stage, but never made it on camera. Now, for this, we can't exclude the Spider-Man 1 era and the Spider-Man 2 era because the only era where this pattern can actually be seen is Spider-Man 3. If you take a look at the basic series of figures, Black Cat, Kraven, Scorpion, Lizard, Mysterio, Rhino, Shocker, and the Vulture were all included in the line. But if you notice, their packaging does not say Spider-Man 3 on it, unlike the others that were in the movie. This was obviously done to not confuse people. They didn't want people to think that there were 11 villains in the movie. However, what's interesting is that the Canadian packaging of these figures does say Spider-Man 3 on it. Here's a Lizard figure in the Canadian packaging, and as you can clearly see, Spider-Man 3. This was probably due to the US market being bigger for movie tickets or something along those lines. It is important to note though that these villains were in the Raimi Spider-Man video games, although some have slight design changes and variations that were made. For example, this Scorpion figure looks like the 2002 game Scorpion, while this Scorpion figure looks like the Spider-Man 3 version. However, we don't have to just look at the Spider-Man 3 basic series, we can also look at the Hasbro Trilogy line. The only two non-film villains to make it onto this line were Shocker and Rhino. They're pretty good figures honestly, but if we look at a line that I haven't yet talked about on this channel, we can see an abundance of non-movie villains once again. This being the Superhero Squad line. All the non-movie villains from the basic series return here except for the Shocker, and in his place is probably the most random choice for a villain to include. This being Puma. Now, Puma was in the Spider-Man 2 game, but yeah, I don't know, it just kind of seems weird how Puma, out of all the villains they could have done, has his own Raimi Spider-Man figure. Personally, I would have rather seen Morbius get his own Raimi Spider-Man figure, who actually was in the Spider-Man 3 game. Morbius has always been one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, so getting a figure of him instead of maybe the other version of Rhino would have been nice. We don't need two rhinos that look basically the same thing, just a paint change. And he could have had his own Superhero Squad set with Symbiote Spider-Man. That would have been sick and a nice callback to the game. But what is your favorite Superhero Squad set? I was talking about this with a commenter the other day, and I think the line is really interesting. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea because, you know, it's really cartoony and the figures are very tiny, but I like seeing the non-movie villains in the Raimi Spider-Man packaging. I think it's cool. I actually had, I think, this set, and I remember losing them in a pool. So, somewhere in a pool filter, or a sewer in Arkansas, where I used to live, they are probably abandoned there or something, or they got eaten by a rat or a homeless man. But that is all the non-movie villains that have Raimi Spider-Man merchandise. I'm pretty sure I showed them all, but if there is any that I missed, please let me know in the comments. Please let me know if you got any of these figures and overall your basic thoughts. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.